Fisherman's tale. Oynuyoruz. Haydi bakalım. İsteyelim. İpucu olsun abi. Start. Hadi bismillah. Chill bir müzik.
Now, stop me if you have heard this one before. Once upon a while ago, there was a fisherman's puppet, carefully made by hand. The puppet lived a simple life inside a modern lighthouse, with everything in its place. And every day began the same way when he brushed his wooden teeth. The toothbrush was in its usual place, beside the basin.
Neresiymiş bunun olması gerektiği yer?
The fisherman spoke well. If you don't think wooden teeth need brushing, you've never had a cavity and a splinter at the same time. Next, he'd put a log inside his little stove to warm things up. The puppet would put a log inside the stove. Careful now.
Ne yapıyorum?
He needed to open the stove door and put in one of the logs from the pile beside it.
Oğlum. Neyi gösteriyorsun ya?
Nice and warm, safe from the storm. Next, he would take his duster and carefully dust his lucky seashell over there on the shelf.
Seashell mi varmış? Neredeymiş lan?
What next?
Abi sus.
Next, he would take the old duster and dust his lucky seashell. His routine never changed. Next, he would dust the little seashell on the shelf in the corner.
Ya oğlum onun rutini buysa bu bana ne?
There.
Ya? Benim rutinim bu olmak zorunda mı ya?
The shell reminded him of the sea when it was calm. Next, the fisherman would open wide his window to check the weather.
Window'una şimdi... Al.
A quiet sea tonight.
Neredeyiz lan biz?
Finally, and most important, every day he would work on his latest model. There, in the center of the room, a perfect model of his own little lighthouse, exact in every detail. It was nearly finished too. Only 2 pieces needed to be added to the replica. The little model cabinet and the final section of the wall.
Duvarın bir sekmesiyle şurası herhalde. Bir de bir tane kabinet neydi o? Dolap gibi bir şey miydi? Şu eksik.
The model should be a perfect replica. There was... Yes!
Burada da şey var.
Good. Now, the final
Var
touch.
mıyım?
A tiny puppet of himself to put inside.
Kendimiz de mi gireceğiz? Oğlum başımızı niye? Başımla beraber.
There. Lucky this model snapped together. Now the little puppet could go. Tired out from his routine, the fisherman will rest his aching wooden bones in his own rocking chair and go to sleep. And dream of models. Safe inside, where the smell of paint and glue was always fresh, where the world was simple and snapped together, the puppet would follow his routine, brush his wooden teeth, dust his lucky shell, and work on his model.
Çala, sobayı yak, seashell'i temizle, havayı kontrol et. Sonra otur orada. Dön.
Worlds within worlds, walls within walls, closing out the storm so it could never reach inside. Until one night, something changed.
Man fishing season has begun and stocks are looking thin again this year. We all know there's a big catch waiting out there somewhere, but hold your hauling lines. Reports are saying a huge
fırtına gelecek
storm
diyorlar.
is blowing in. It might
Çok
be
açılmayın.
nothing, but better
Dolarda
safe
takılın.
than salvage,
Hadi
I
bak.
always say. Coming up next, another
Sallamıyor ki. Şarkını söylüyor. Ne yapıyor anlamadım ki. Ah bak şimşekler çekiyor. Ben dedim sana. Dedim sen git hadi git. Dinlemiyor ki işte. Sakalımız yok diyeceğim ama şey gibi de sakalımız var. Niye dinlemiyorlar anlamadım. Tamam. Gene mi rutin?
Every
Bak,
morning,
fırçasını
the
ben burada
fisherman's prepared to walk inside his model lighthouse with everything in its place. And he began his day the same way. Except this morning, something felt different.
Bu sabah bir şey farklıymış. Bu ne abi? Bu demirin burada ne işi var?
Mon Dieu, the window had been boarded up. The fisherman didn't remember doing that. Even when the storm came, he was safe in here. But no two silly planks of wood were going to get between him and his routine.
İlla rutinimizden şey yapacağız, şaşmayacağız yani. İlla rutinimizi yapacağız. Al. Al rutin, al. Al rutin. Ah. Aha. Rutin bozuldu. Bu temiz zaten. Şey çıkmıyor.
He needed to find something to pry off the boards. He couldn't get them off by hand.
Elimizde şey ettiremiyoruz değil mi? Çatalla mı yapacağım? Neyle yapacağım? Bavulda bir şey vardır belki. Ya gitsen oğlum şuraya. Heh. Git al. Tozunu mu alayım? Yukarı mı çıkacağım? Yukarı çıkamam ki. Ha, şu zımbırtı.
This would do. What was it Papa used to say? Use the right tool for the right job.
Bu mu right tool? Bunun için. Oğlum suratıma geliyor ya. Ha. Çek.
Nearly there.
Yavaş.
What was this feeling? The fisherman hadn't felt like this for a long time.
Oğlum yavaş.
At last, the smell of the ocean. But outside, not the sea. He couldn't believe his wooden eyes. Outside the room was another room, a replica room. And standing in it, a huge but very familiar figure of a fisherman. And he knew that if that huge figure were to turn, its face would be very familiar. Sacre bleu! If this was what lay outside, then what was inside his own little model lighthouse, in the model of his own room?
Roomception mı olduk? Roomception olduk la.
The fisherman hardly dared to take the roof off. It was all there inside the model, exact in every detail. But the tiny version of himself, it was moving. He was inside the model, he was outside the model, and just who was pulling all the strings?
Dear listeners, a general alert to all lighthouses. In spite of all of our thrilling up-to-the-minute warnings, a lone boat has gone out into the storm. Lighthouse keepers, make sure your lights are shining bright. I repeat, a lone boat has gone out into the storm.
The lighthouse. The world might be folding in on itself, but only one thing mattered now. He had to turn on the lighthouse lamp high above. The life of a fellow sailor was at stake. A huge anchor blocked the only door. Whoever did it must really want to keep the storm out, or keep something in.
Şunu şey yapacağız, alacağız. O zaman.
Of course. As below, so above. When he lifted the tiny anchor, the large one was lifted by his giant self. Zut! The door was locked. He must have put the key somewhere last time he left this
Ya
room.
oğlum.
Now, when was
Rutinimizde anahtar
that?
yoktu ama.
And then, my friends, the strangest thing
anahtar yoktu.
happened.
Nereye
Inside
saklamış
this
olabilir, ne
room
bileyim
where he
ben.
knew
Öyle bir
every
tüm
cranny and nook, an unfamiliar voice said,
Hey, you. Yes, you, the scruffy-looking puppet. Yeah, you with the strings. Over here, on the shelf.
Undershelf mi? Lan ne
Are you
şerfmiş
cracked
be,
in
ne
the
bir var
cockle?
şerfmiş.
Why did you move the anchor? Why? Why did you take the roof off?
the fisherman. He felt, well, his lucky shell had just started talking to him, and very rudely too, so he did not feel so great.
You test me every day and you thought I just had nothing to say? I'm an hermit crab, Sonny, and you might not appreciate a nice quiet hiding spot, but I do. Now, shh.
And what are we hiding from?
I'm hiding from the storm. Why do you think I stole the key?
The key? The key?
Neden oğlum ya?
Where is it?
Oh, fiddler crab sticks.
The fisherman took a deep breath.
Veriyorsan ver
Oh,
anahtarı.
hermit crab, craftiest of all crustaceans, I must get to the top of the lighthouse. Those sailors out there may be looking for us. We must be brave.
Brave? Brave? If you can't find me my hat, I will be the captain, of course. And the captain needs his hat and a life preserver, just in
Kaptan
case.
benim oğlum kaptan.
Then, just this once, we will be brave.
Well, of course, courageous Captain Crab, said the fisherman. Your hat and a life preserver. Now, where would an everyday wooden puppet find a tiny life preserver and a hat fit for a crab?
Vallahi işimiz gücümüz kalmadı. Beyefendiye şey bulacağız. Şapka bulacağız.
How's it going? The
Ses-
storm is getting closer. I'm not joking.
Bu ne? Bunu tak. Allah.
No good. C'est pas ça. Find me a hat and a life preserver. Then I'll consider giving you the key to get to the lighthouse.
Şapka işte.
Making you my first mate as well.
Şapka dediğin şey nedir? Başını örten bir objedir işte. Acaba buradan bir şey ona şapka olabilir mi? Mesela şu.
There. Now put it around my shell. I won't move until... Good.
Senin ben.
I feel more buoyant already. Now I just need a hat. How else will people know I'm in charge? Hmm?
Ha bu değil yani. Hala şapkada head to head.
There might be something in the cabinet, but the handle was missing. Was there another handle somewhere?
I feel the storm coming.
Handle'ına
I'll admit, I'm a curious crab asking
Lan bu.
all this stuff. But this storm is really, really scary, believe me.
ya böyle bir şey olabilir mi ya?
Good, but the hat might be just a teeny tiny bit big for me.
Ha bu da olmayacak yani. İlla şey olacak. Küçük olacak. İlla şeyden alacağız. Tamam. Al.
Good. Now put it on me carefully. I have very delicate antennules. So, you found everything? Well, if a little wooden puppet like you can do this, then
Ben
I will be
Kuklan mıyım lan ben?
brave. Now just let me get out of this damn
Anahtar.
shell. Phew. Breathe. I feel so much lighter. Blast it. I don't remember.
Hatırlamıyorsun. Anahtarı nereye koydun hatırlamıyorsun.
The crab had lived his whole life inside this little shell. No bigger than the fisherman's hand. But he was safe.
Anahtar orada. Ha. O zaman
Almost. Got it. That will do. All right. Are you ready?
tatsız.
Me
That
too,
will
I
do'ymuş.
think.
That will do tabii. Ama sen mi şey yaptın? Ben yaptım.
Farewell, shipmate. I won't forget what you did for me. Your captain salutes you.
He would need to find his way up the tower in the darkness, and already he could hear the storm rising outside.
Woohoo! Hacı dayı sana demedim mi ben? Storm geliyor. Ne geliyor? Ne diye? Niye dinlemiyorsun beni? Küçücük zaten fikrim var. Şuna bak. Gelen dalgalara bak. Tekneye bak. Dinlemiyor ki işte. Hala gidiyor.